The doctor is back in the office, and today we are going to be recapping UFC Fight Night, Sean Strickland versus Anthony Hernandez. And honestly, I'm devastated. I wanted Fluffy to win, and you could go check out, my predictions for this card. I had outlined about every single way Sean Strickland could win, and I pretty much was like, fuck that. Anthony Hernandez, he's going to come in here and cardio mog him. He's going to Marab Max. He's going to DDP Max and just put on a pace that Sean Strickland cannot handle. And boy, was I fucking wrong. I couldn't have been any more wrong. All of our fears about Anthony Hernandez came true. We knew he was weak to the body. We were just like, is Sean Strickland really able to hit him there? He did. Knees him in the body in the third round, led to the finish by TKO in the third round. Just an absolute masterclass from Sean Strickland. Neutralized every single strength of Fluffy Hernandez. Was working his jab nicely, his teeps nicely. Was moving, around the octagon very well, defending takedowns. I think Fluffy was what? Let's see. Fluffy was what? 0 for 3. It says one official, but there were a couple times where they got each other to the cage. Fluffy just couldn't get anything going. His entries were sloppy. And then what really led to the finish of the third round was his striking just kind of opened up. He got a little bit too sloppy in his striking, and then Sean Strickland capitalized with a knee. I can't really hate on Sean Strickland. He fought a fucking perfect fight. Again, used his jab very well, kicks the body. And again, I know I've mentioned the jab twice. That he literally could hit that jab whenever he wanted. He was popping Anthony Hernandez with the jab all night. Fluffy really couldn't land anything meaningful. Just doesn't have the footwork or the striking capabilities to really cut off Sean Strickland enough in the cage to really land significant damage or anything. Just really dominance from Sean Strickland. Again, stuff takedowns. He's so hard to hit, though. That's the thing. I think it would obviously be a lot more intriguing, a matchup like this if we could see Sean Strickland face more of an elite level striker. I just think Fluffy's boxing is, it's just boxing. It's very simplistic. He's not throwing a ton of other stuff with it, like advanced level combos or even a ton of kicks. He threw a couple calf kicks out there and a couple kicks to the body where it was like, all right, that's there. But Sean Strickland just dominance. He finishes the fight and then proceeds to essentially get on the mic and coach Anthony Hernandez through what he did wrong. Saying, I think you got a little bit wild there at your striking and led to your finish. It was honestly very awkward, but credit to Sean Strickland. I think they cut his mic early because they knew he was going to start ranting about ice or something. All the credit to him. He called Khamzat Chimaev a whore and then called him out after the fight. Listen, I don't want to see Khamzat Chimaev move up to light heavyweight just yet. I'd much rather see Sean Strickland versus Khamzat Chimaev because let's be real. Nobody wants to see Imavov versus Khamzat Chimaev. There's little interest there. And Khamzat Chimaev doesn't even want to fight Nasruddin Imavov. So, Sean Strickland, at least the two guys don't like each other whatsoever. So I would definitely make that fight. Either way, just not a great look for Fluffy to get finished by Sean Strickland in 2026. Also, what do you guys think is worse? Having a glass... I saw this tweet out there. What do you think is worse? Having a glass chin or having a glass body? Because, a lot of people talk about, as you get older, your chin gets shitty. One fucking punch, you can knock him out. But rarely do you see guys so weak to the body like Fluffy Hernandez is. And it was evident in this fight, just not a great look from him, couldn't get anything going. And the whole time, even, what the funny thing was, because I was coming into this fight, I was like, if he just, keeps Sean Strickland on the back foot and is pressuring, he should win this fight. And he actually was pushing Sean Strickland back, but just, I don't know if he was too hesitant to try and shoot for takedowns from farther away, because there were a couple instances where I felt like Sean Strickland was just shrugging this guy off. He wasn't really worried about him. And then he could do the iCarly guard and just walk you down like an American Revolutionary War soldier. And he wins. Masterclass by Sean Strickland. I wouldn't be mad if he gets the next title shot and understand the, notion that Imavov might be more deserving. But Strickland versus Chimaev is a significantly more interesting matchup in the division. And Sean Strickland might have proved that he's the real Mexican. I'll just leave it at that. I did like at the end when he was like, here's the thing, motherfuckers. Anthony Hernandez is a real fucking Mexican. I didn't know he could fucking box like that. He's a real fucking Mexican. Very weird, but Khamzat Chimaev, you're a whore, and you're fighting Sean Strickland next. Moving on to what was a banger of a co-main, and man, this fucking sucked to see a Geoff Neal out cold. Because all the narratives coming to this fighter. Ooh, Geoff Neal's getting sober. And I needed a win here because I did so shit on this card. I was like, oh, Geoff Neal, he's getting sober. And originally, I was all over Uros Medic when I heard this fight was announced. I'm like, Geoff Neal is fucking done. No offense to Geoff Neal, but he just got flatlined by Carlos Prates. And I was like, Geoff Neal, he only loses to really high-level fighters. He's more technical, boxer than Uros Medic. His defense is better. And all that shit went out the window because these guys were moving around a lot early. Left hook dropped Geoff Neal and the fight was fucking over. He legitimately went to sleep too. The boogers came out of Geoff Neal's nose. That happened. Boogers came out of his nose. Then they cut to Beneil Dariush. He looked fucking homeless. Also, proof sobriety might be for losers. I'm just going to say, drunk Geoff Neal was significantly better. This sober version of Geoff Neal looks like shit. Has now had back-to-back first-round knockouts where he just got highlight reeled, flatlined, KO'd. I feel bad for him. He should just retire. I felt so bad for Geoff Neal. He's a guy I'm going to be telling my kids about. Like, people forget, man, Geoff Neal, this guy beat Mike Perry, had a nice little win streak back in the day. Also, how shit are Shavkat and Ian Gary? They couldn't even do this to Geoff Neal. So Uros Medic, really interested to see what's next for him. He called out Leon Edwards for that fight to happen in wherever the fuck he's from, the Czech Republic or Slovakia, Serbia. Shit's not happening, Uros, bro. Nobody's going to fucking Serbia to fight you. Moving down the card, we go to Dan Ige versus Melquizael Costa. Melky Costa. What a fucking win for my guy. I thought he was going to win this by decision. I figured Dan Ige, he's just a blockhead. He can kind of, just maraud his way to a decision, which he'll lose. Dan Ige, landed a takedown early, but there was some good scrambles from Melky Costa. And Costa was throwing a ton of head kicks. And then he just fucking spinning back kick knocks him out. And Dan Ige was trying to contest the fucking stoppage. Dan Ige, you were out. Your face got smashed in and broken. There was also, he almost knocked him out even earlier to that. He stunned him earlier with a Michael Chandler-esque front kick on Tony Ferguson. He did that earlier. Highlight reel knockout. That's sick. Melky Costa, this guy has elite level kicks. He called out Diego Lopez. Listen, I don't know if that fight would happen, but it would be really fun. Don't get me wrong, Two really exciting guys in the featherweight division. The rankings don't really mean shit. Just match guys up to match guys up. Melky Costa, this guy's fucking legit. Showed a little bit of everything. Also landed a takedown of his own in this fight. Stood up in the grappling. Big win over crafty vet Dan Ige, who had never been finished before in the UFC. Had lost all 10 fights in the UFC by decision. Also pretty funny that this guy, Dan 50K Ige, he changes his name to 100K Ige and then he gets highlight reel KO'd. Tough loss for Dan Ige, who, the funny thing is, everybody talks about this nickname. I don't even know the last time Dan Ige got a performance bonus. Was it a couple years ago? Because I don't think he got one for the Sean Woodson finish. So when was the last time Dan Ige even got a fucking finish? I've always thought the nickname was fucking stupid. And I've always liked Dan Ige. Down the card we go to one of the weirder fights. The main card for this fight night was actually pretty fucking good. Serghei Spivac, he's pretty fucking good. Ante Delija, you fucking suck. Really funny fight because you're kind of coming into this thinking, well, Ante Delija, he's going to be a lot faster on the feet. You figure he could defend a takedown to Serghei Spivac well, and if he can't, Serghei Spivac will just get him to the ground and submit him. It was the opposite. Serghei Spivac was working the jab the whole fight. He made Ante Delija look like a tampon pad blew up in his face. He was so fucking bloody. I kept, in my notes here, I was like, Serghei should mix in the wrestling, but I was like, he has looked so much faster. Guys were throwing, Ante Delija, I thought was going to finish Serghei Spivac in that second round, but then he fucking gassed down and went into the clinch, and that was it. Spivac was still a lot faster in the third round. He landed a takedown, and then they got back up. Ante Delija just didn't pour down. Somebody gave this Serghei Spivac a 30-27. I thought this was a clear as day, 29-28 Spivac. Good win for him. I was doing shit at this card at this point. I don't even care. I was just like, can the main card just at least make me interested, because the prelims are such shit. But good win for Serghei Spivac. Ante Delija, we overrated you because you beat one of the GOAT gatekeepers, Marcin Tybura. He's absolutely shit, mate. See, that's my problem with the British accent. It just goes straight to a little bit Australian right there. But Serghei Spivac, he's really tough fighter. Ante Delija, you fucking suck. See, I do a little bit of McGregor right there. But yeah, good win for Serghei Spivac. Really odd fight, very weird fight. Down the card we go to, which we essentially just watched the murder. Jacobe Smith destroyed and murdered Josiah Harrell. Pretty much that brain surgery that Josiah Harrell got was essentially useless. And another thing I want to put about Jacobe Smith, this guy has to be on steroids. Look how fucking big his shoulders are. This guy is built like a fucking, I don't even know what he's built like, but it's insane. There was a beautiful, there was some nice Smith landed a nice takedown. Harrell did a nice job of getting back up, and then Harrell landed I think he landed a takedown, and then Jacobe Smith just reversal, and he fucking killed Josiah Harrell with hammer fists and elbows. And then whoever the ref was got mad at Jacobe Smith, and understandably to a degree, because he's got to know that Josiah Harrell is out. But it's your job to stop the fight. There was probably like 5 extra shots at Josiah Harrell's head that got let off. That probably took 20 years off of his life. Shout out Phil Leotardo. That probably took 20 years off of Josiah Harrell's life because the dumbass ref let that happen. But big win for Jacobe Smith. Called out Kevin Holland, which would be an interesting fight. Kevin Holland's fighting Randy Brown. I think Jacobe Smith would fucking murder Kevin Holland at this point. But you never know. Every now and then Kevin Holland shows up and he looks like GSP. So who knows? But big win for Jacobe Smith. Again, this guy's ground and pound, I said it, is fucking elite. It's Armin Tsarkarian-like. Jacobe Smith, I really said that. Nasty line by me. Jacobe Smith, he's really fucking like that. And then the opener on the main card was the worst fight. Zach Reese versus Michel Pereira was one of the like lowest skilled fights I've ever seen. And Michel Pereira won this, but they should cut him for the bullshit that was going on with the nut shots. And Zach Reese, back in August or September, whenever that was, he had a no contest with Seti Dumas because of a ball shot. But these didn't even touch him. They touched his fucking thigh. The first one was egregious. Like, that one touched the inside of his thigh. It wasn't even close to Michel Pereira's dick. The second one looked high. Again, we only had one angle of it. But really, just ugly fight. Zach Reese was bloodied up. I honestly thought he could have won this fight had he just worn the damage better. He just looked so fucking bloodied and beat up. But really zero fundamentals. Just guys trading, and who really gives a fuck? This fight fucking sucked. And I like Zach Reese too, but to lose to Michel Pereira sucks. But one of the only good prelim fights, Chidi Njokuani versus Carlos Leal. This was just the old school scrapping it. And I thought Chidi Njokuani was going to get knocked out early in that first round. Because it was such a goofball fight. Chidi is just towering over Carlos Leal. He's beating him up at range with calf kicks to the body. Leal's just firing back, staying in his face. You could clearly tell Chidi Njokuani is coming from a Muay Thai background because he isn't moving at all. He's just staying with his back to the cage, letting Carlos Leal fucking piece him up while also throwing like elbows and kicks back to him. He didn't even realize he could use his hands, I think, the first round. He didn't start using his jab until like the second round. He landed some really nice knees on Carlos Leal, just constant pressure from Leal. Then in second round, I think he got wobbled by a right hand, was working the jab a lot better in this round. Leal was doing a great job cutting off the cage. I think he also, did he land a takedown? I know it says 0 out of 5, but I felt like he landed a takedown here. But no, he didn't land a takedown, but he got like a body lock along the fence, and Chidi Njokuani was just blatantly grabbing onto the fence. And then Michael Bisping, I don't remember exactly what the guy said, but he was like, well, those aren't exactly fence grabs. He's sticking his hand through the fence. He's not grabbing it. It was some bullshit like that. It made zero fucking sense, but it was so funny. Both these guys had a great chin, great fight. I thought Chidi, if he just utilized his size better, like maybe threw more head kicks, he might have won this. Great scrap. There was also a blatant illegal kick to a grounded opponent. Carlos Leal had his like knee on the ground, and Chidi just blasted him with a head kick or like a kick to the head. And Carlos Leal was like, no, we have to keep fighting. He just told Margot or whoever was the ref, like, you got to fucking back off. So this was a banger of a fight. I think it won fight of the night. I hope it did. This fight was a fucking scrap. But did it win fight of the night? Does it say? I don't even know. But good win for Carlos Leal. I kind of had banned him from picking him again because of the thing that happened with Muslim Salikov. But, he's back. I can bet on him again. Either way, moving down the card, we go to Ode Osborne versus Alibi Idris. Ode Osborne is so goddamn fast. He moves so fast, so athletic, but he got like dropped to the knee. He fell to his knees. Does it say? It doesn't give any official knockdowns because like he'd get like flashed with like a left and then he would just drop to one knee. It was really weird. I thought Adiris did a great job mixing in the takedowns here, more than I thought he would, because he is really weird when he wants to do it. It wasn't a ton of spinning shit from him in this fight, but he was doing a lot of good job with inside trips, getting on his back. Ode Osborne, I honestly thought he could have won this fight. Like, he realized he had the power advantage, but was hunting for those power shots way too often and allowed Adiris to kind of exploit holes in Ode Osborne's game, and Ode Osborne was just kind of making bad reads on the takedowns. And Ode just needed a finish, just isn't technical enough. Adiris did a great job mixing in the wrestling, just applying pressure throughout. He matched Ode Osborne a lot better in the pressure department than I thought. Just a tough loss for him. Makes Steve Erceg look like shit. I'll go through some of these fights quick. Alvin Correa, 4-ounce Fight Club, he looked fucking great. Put a beating on Luis Kincaid-Garul. Just looked a lot faster than him. Also is better in the grappling sequences. I'm surprised he didn't get a finish here. Just good win for him. Pieced up Luis Garul, who just sucks. He's nothing good. Whatever. Down the card, Nora Cornhole versus Jocelyn Edwards. This is one of those badass one finishes where I wasn't really paying attention to it because the first round, Nora, she was winning. It looked kind of like a repeat of the first fight. And then Jocelyn Edwards slammed Nora Cornhole so hard on the ground you heard her shoulder crack. Poured it on. Mark Goddard was just letting her die, whoever was the fucking ref. I've mentioned Mark Goddard as the ref for half of these. I have no clue if Mark Goddard was the ref of any of these fucking fights. I think it was Mark Goddard, though. She was out then, and Jocelyn Edwards is just pouring on punches to the head, and then she takes her back and submits her. And Nora Cornhole was letting out a fucking deathly cry. And when they put the replay, you heard her shoulder, her ribs, whatever it was, just break. That was brutal. That was an all-time great women's finish. Credit to Jocelyn Edwards. And up to this point, the Jocelyn Edwards win and the Carly Judice win were like the two best fights on the card. And down the card, Brahimaj versus Punelli Soriano. Shame on me for going against my guy Punelli Soriano. Brahimaj looked really sharp, I thought, early on. Was working the left hand really well. Just looked really competent with the striking. And then Soriano, I just felt kind of took over after that second round. I thought Brahimaj did a decent job in the beginning, kind of just being all over Soriano, but Puna did a really good job just being more efficient with his takedowns, landing some nice knees and elbows in there, and also was mixing in the head kick pretty effectively, and just, I don't know, he just did a better job. It wasn't that exciting a fight, but two guys who were pretty good. John Paul Lebosnani versus Phil Rowe. This is a pretty decent scrap. Phil Rowe sucks. He has no clue what to do. He's about 10 feet taller than JPL, and he just proceeds to just he used his jab pretty effectively, but really couldn't get that much else going for him. Lebosnani I thought he did a good job, even in that third round where it seemed like he was gassing out. He still was kind of leading the dance, leading the charge. Got takedowns when he needed to. I'll give Phil Rowe credit to this. I thought he was going to get controlled a lot more on the ground than he was. Like, just sitting there like a dead fish. But he did a decent job scrambling up. Wasn't controlled for too much. In the third round, though, JPL kind of really poured it on him. Got a takedown. Was just always threatening the neck. Really making Phil Rowe get into bad spots. The fact that this was a split decision I thought was ridiculous. So I thought this was a clear unanimous decision for John Paul Lebosnani, which was a good debut for him. Yadir Delval just proving the Isaac Dalgarian fight was fucking rigged. It's a lot harder to fight a guy when they're not trying to throw the fight on purpose. I'll say that. For a guy that comes from a grappling background, how are you not able to get up off of the ground, wall walk, or maybe take a risk and scramble, or actually wrestle? Jordan Levitt just laid on you and was slapping your ass. It was a pretty embarrassing fight. Good win for Jordan Levitt, I guess. Moving down the division worked for him. And Carly Judice put a beating on Juliana Miller. Was kind of close to getting a finish. There was a instance, I think it was in the third round, where Juliana Miller almost fluked a submission. That would have been fucking devastating. It didn't happen that way, thank God. Good win for Carly Judice. She's a lot of fun to watch in the women's flyweight division. Also did a nice job stuffing takedowns. A 2 for 13 is pretty fucking terrible from Juliana Miller. But overall, the prelims pretty fucking bad, and the main card really saved this thing. I mean, Strickland versus Hernandez. To get a Sean Strickland finish in 2026 is pretty special. Medic, Geoff Neal had boogers coming out of his nose. You're putting him on a t-shirt. Dan Ige, this guy never gets finished. Melquizael Costa puts him out. Spivac versus Ante Delija was a pretty goofy heavyweight fight, but it was entertaining to watch. Jacobe Smith is going to make Josiah Harrell get another brain surgery. And Reese versus Michelle Pereira was goy slop. That fight fucking sucked. But Thank you all for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. The doctor is signing off.